Hey everybody, thanks for joining Life Overhaul podcast. Today I'm Julie Nygaard, host of the show and also the author of a book called Life Overhaul. What are you waiting for? That's like a step-by-step guide on how to overhaul your entire life, which I decided to write because I'm in process of doing my own life and I thought I'd share some of the things that I'm going through. And I decided to read the book. In case you don't want to buy it, you can just follow along on the podcast. But the main thing is you do need to have some kind of a notebook because there's a lot of exercises in there. And if you don't do them, like, you're definitely not going to overhaul your life, right? You have to do something different if you want a different life. So there's all kinds of little ideas in there. Today, I'm reading chapter 3, which is how to hijack your subconscious mind, which might seem like something you don't want to do, but let me tell you, it's already been hijacked. Now you need to reclaim it. You got to take it back and get it working for you instead of against you. And the way that you know it's working against you is if you don't have what you want in life, something is programmed in there that's keeping you from getting it. So I'm just going to jump right into it and start reading out of the book. This is chapter 3, how to hijack your subconscious mind. So if you've been following along, you've already done chapters 1 and 2. You've created a plan now and evaluated your personal characteristics as a starting point. Now what? It's time to overhaul your current programming and replace it with something that's going to produce the results you're looking for. That means aligning your subconscious mind with your conscious mind. Most of us have heard that humans only use about 5% of their brains. What's happening with the other 95%? Is it just sitting there idling, waiting for the moment when we figure out how to use it a little more? Actually, you've been using it all along, you just didn't realize it, because the other 95%, referred to as the subconscious mind, is actually your physical body. In other words, you're living in that 95% with all of its memories, cell memory, learned habits, belief systems, limitations, and ideas. Your subconscious mind is being used, just not with your awareness. That's why it's called the subconscious, because it's not in your field of perception. Science shows us that every cell in the body is made up of energy. This energy remembers your life events, imprints them in your DNA, and then works to repeat those experiences again and again because that is your familiar zone. If you've experienced a life-changing event when you were a child, your subconscious mind and body create similar events to evoke the same feelings and emotions throughout your adult life. For example, if you experienced emotional pain as you grew up watching your parents fight, later in life, you attract similar situations to experience that pain again and again. You might disagree with this, but you don't even know what's happening. Without your awareness, it's not possible to change because the emotion of pain is your norm. Without your awareness, you don't know that there's a different option. Once you have the knowledge of how this process works, you can begin to take steps to guide your body in a different direction. We're almost completely controlled by our bodies. We've spent a lifetime reacting to them, so we have inadvertently allowed them to rule us. Here's a few examples. When you skinned your knee as a kid, you'd run to your mom and she'd give you a Band-Aid. When you got a cold or flu, you go to the doctor. When you get an injury, you pamper yourself with everything you need to heal. And when you experience emotional pain of a relationship ending, for example, you might drink to numb the feeling of pain. While it's important to take care of yourself if you have an injury or a challenging experience, what happens over the years is that the body becomes who you are and your mind takes a back seat. Your mind spends all of its time reacting to your body instead of leading you into a place of creativity. Your body basically monopolizes your mind with its perpetual pay attention to me demands. And although your mind has far more power than your body, decades of identifying with physical experiences have swayed all the power to the body. The situation gets worse as time progresses. Not only do we focus more on our health issues as we get older, but we're also exposed to nonstop pharmaceutical ads telling us that there's a medicine or a pill for every little thing that might be wrong with us. We're brainwashed to look for things that are wrong, and sure enough, we find them. Sometimes we even create them. Here's an example of how a typical, unaware mind might navigate through the day. If a happy thought comes along, your mind might be happy for 10 minutes, followed by an angry thought for 15 minutes, then a sad thought for 10 minutes, and then on to a frustrated thought, followed up by a lonely thought. Since there's no monitoring of the thought process, We simply react to the thought as if it's real. We go through the day in a state of total unawareness, and these crazy, nonstop thoughts run and often ruin our lives. Like leaves in the wind, thoughts blow in and change our moods from one minute to the next, from one day to the next. And it's exhausting because you feel completely whipped around by your mind. The power of the subconscious mind is extraordinary. Since it's the majority of who we are, it takes a stronghold on us. That's why when you're trying to change, it's challenging because you're only using about 5% of yourself, or your conscious mind, to drag the other 95% into a new life. This is very difficult. What do we do? Enter mind training. Just like you train your body at the gym for physical performance, you can train your mind for mental performance. Unfortunately, we're rarely taught the skills of mind training. We trudge along through life, letting thought after thought enter our minds without any awareness. The gate is wide open for anything to come in because we haven't learned mental discipline. When a random thought comes in, sometimes we ruminate on it, other times we let it go. More often than not, we ruminate on negative thoughts and let positive thoughts go. We end up wasting enormous amounts of time pondering negative ideas, which in turn sets up the momentum for more negativity in the future. Mind training makes you highly aware of every thought that you have, as well as your ability to choose what you want to think. If someone makes you mad, do you have to stay mad all day? Do you have to tell 15 people about it over the next 2 weeks? No, you don't. We choose to repeat the experience because we're addicted to anger. We want to feel angry, so we ruminate on things that make us angry, tell stories that make us angry, and inadvertently antagonize others so we can get angry at them. If reading this makes you angry, or listening in your case, you're probably addicted to anger. Maybe you're addicted to sadness. How do you know? You watch sad movies, read sad books, or read sad stories in the newspaper, or you're involved with organizations where people have sad experiences like death or extreme hardships. Being attached to sadness is not good or bad, but being aware of these things is a way to identify what emotion you're highly connected to. For example, if you frequently are sad but you'd like to be happy, you're going to have to visit with your connection to sadness. What if you abuse substances like drugs or alcohol, which are both physiological addictions of the body? Substance abuse numbs the body and helps close out the pain and difficulties of life. It also helps you escape things that are happening in the world that seem unfair, as well as numbing painful childhood or traumatic life experiences. Drug and alcohol addictions are generally the result of an inability to tolerate the physical world, which is understandable because it can be brutal. You may not even realize that numbing is at the root of your addiction because your only perspective is your own experience. Two people can experience the same major traumatic event and one emerges just fine while the other becomes addicted to a substance trying to get the pain to go away. How do you know whether or not you have a hypersensitive body if you've never even thought about it or you've spent most of your life numbing it? Just like with anger or sadness, the way you know is to observe your reality. If you're addicted to substance, most likely you're hypersensitive to your environment and your coping method is numbing it out. Fortunately, there are ways to change this. As mentioned earlier, the body is the subconscious mind, and for most people, the body owns the mind. It's gone through all of your experiences with you, and each cell remembers all of them, even if your mind doesn't. The body's like a spoiled child. It wants a cigarette, it gets one right now. It wants to be mad, it picks a fight with someone, or it remembers an angry experience. It wants to be sad, it chooses a sad song associated with a breakup and you start to cry. Or maybe your body likes having coffee every morning, even though your mind wants you to stop drinking it. In fact, if you're not living the exact life you'd like to be living, your body is most likely in total control of your mind. How do you switch the power back to your mind when your body is controlling your life? What changes the odds to your favor on how to control your body and therefore your subconscious mind? The answer is applied knowledge. Once you understand that you have the power to retake control of your body through strategies that can be learned, your entire life will begin to change. Mind training focuses on changing the 95% while you put the 5% conscious mind to rest, which needs to happen because it's like a 24-hour guard dog. It judges everything that goes out and decides whether or not it fits your norm. If the new information doesn't line up, whatever you're trying to add to for change won't get into the subconscious. But that's where the power is. So the key to success is figuring out how to relax the guardian so you can reprogram the subconscious mind. There are numerous techniques in the coming chapters on how to do this, and it can be confusing to know which one will work for you. The best way to find out is to read through them and figure out which one resonates with you the most. If you don't get an instinctive idea of which one it might be, try each technique for 30 days to see which one generates the most change. You can either keep doing that one or switch it around every 30 days so you don't get bored. Meditation and autosuggestion. The first process is meditation. If you don't like that, you can also call it autosuggestion. And it works like this. You calm the conscious mind into a relaxed state, which keeps it from judging everything. It only takes a few minutes. Just close your eyes and take 3 to 5 deep breaths. And this step is very important because when the conscious mind judges, and it always does, it blocks change. So once you're relaxed, you create a feeling in the body by focusing on your new life or the goal that you've chosen. The feeling is the most important part because emotion is what sends the message to the cells to change. You literally trick your body into believing that what you want already exists, and then your mind finally follows along. This flips the balance of power so that your subconscious mind is guiding your conscious mind instead of the other way around. Another way to say it is that you're programming your powerhouse, the subconscious mind, to bring you what you want without even thinking about it. In the past, your body has acted on default because it had no direction, but this time you're programming it to draw in what you want. This process can result in immediate change, sometimes even one day, although it usually takes a consistent daily routine to create exactly what you want. You'll know when it's working because you'll start to get all kinds of ideas that you didn't have before, most of them related to the direction of your goals and your new life. Try to set aside 10 minutes a day to program your body for a new reality. The morning is good because you simply set the alarm a little earlier and your mind is already fairly calm. You don't have to figure out when to set aside time during the day because you're done with your program before you even get out of bed. Do not look at your social media or emails before you calm your mind, or it will jumpstart your brain and you'll miss the ideal opportunity for change. Here are a few secrets to this method that I've discovered after visiting hundreds of websites, reading dozens of books, and experimenting on my own. Get neutral. Your results will happen much quicker if you get into a neutral state before you start visualizing your goals or desired change. If you just jump straight into visualization, you miss the step that opens the door for experiencing faster change. Skipping the neutral state would be a little bit like baking chocolate chip cookies before you've stirred all the ingredients together. You're going to get some results, but most likely they won't be that good. Luckily, it doesn't take long to get into a neutral place. It can be as quick and simple as sitting down in a quiet area, putting your phone on airplane mode, and taking a few deep breaths while focusing on your breathing. If miscellaneous thoughts come in, gently guide them out and go back to focusing on your breath. You don't have to be in a calm state for hours to get into a neutral state. Next, feel it. When you visualize your goals, it's important to feel yourself having the experience as well as seeing yourself in it. Just seeing yourself in your new life isn't enough. You have to feel it. You've heard the saying, the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. If you doubt this, just take a minute to imagine yourself in a hot air balloon soaring over a big city. Your heart will automatically start beating faster. Feeling what you want is probably more important than seeing it, so make sure you create a feeling as you do your visualizations. Feeling creates energy waves that send a message to the universe and demonstrate what you'd like to experience. They're your calling card for life. Whatever you can feel, you can create. Touch it. If possible, figure out a way to touch something in your vision and smell it as well. If you can add an extra emotional experience while you're visualizing, all the better. For example, if you're visualizing yourself in the kitchen of your dream home, imagine what it would be like to eat a bowl of your favorite ice cream while standing over the sink. If you want a dream car, imagine the sound of the engine revving. You want to lose weight? Imagine yourself wearing the most amazing outfit on a red carpet somewhere. The point is to take your dream and make the visualization around it highly exaggerated so your subconscious mind doesn't miss the message. It also makes it easier to evoke a feeling in the body. Focus on the end results. Finally, when visualizing, don't bother with how you're going to get where you are, just focus on the end result. You don't have to orchestrate the method of arrival. Your main job is to focus on the desire so much that you create that feeling mentioned previously. Are you driving your dream car? Feel the steering wheel in your hand, the wind blowing in your face, the peace of having paid cash for it, the power of the acceleration underfoot. Let go and have the full experience. Are you with your perfect mate? Feel the warmth of holding their hand, the softness of their kiss on your lips or cheek, the feeling of love in your heart when you're laughing together. Are you the perfect weight? Feel the lightness of your step. Taste the healthy food that you're enjoying, and appreciate the energy your body is experiencing without having to haul all those extra pounds around. Again, focus on the end result for the purpose of feeling, not the method to the end. You can take inspired action if it comes to you, but there's no need to go crazy trying to do things nonstop to achieve your goal. Envision it, then take inspired action only. Overcoming body memory. The second technique involves taking charge of your body at the physical level. Add this to the meditation or autosuggestion for maximum effect. Scientific studies have shown that cells have memory and that, as mentioned earlier, they often repeat the same behavior. If you got divorced on March 1st and experienced extreme sadness, it's possible that even 5 years later on March 1st, you may experience the same sadness even if you don't have your divorce in mind. Divorce is an extreme example because most people would remember that day. But what about the smaller things you experience, like getting in a fender bender, having a fight with a close friend, or straining a muscle at the gym? Your body remembers these things and replays them as you move through life, usually to evoke an emotion that you're closely associated with. For example, if that emotion is depression and you're having a depressive experience, you may not even know why. Your body remembers something that you don't. With its comfort zone in depression, it will do whatever it takes to get you back to that place. Overcoming body memory is a process of becoming aware of what's going on. Once you catch it happening, you can change the course of the day by thought rather than by action. Talk to your body and let it know you're in charge. At first, it seems ridiculous, talking to your body if it's a small child, telling it what you'll put up with and what you won't. There's no need to say anything out loud, of course, especially if there are other people around. But the concept is to embrace more of a take control attitude than letting your body's whims control your every move. If you practice mind training, eventually your body will be in line with your thoughts and it will stop going off on its own tangent. The true awareness of this for me was solidified when I was talking to a friend who had suffered from severe chronic fatigue for most of her life. I was trying to explain the concept of using your mind to control your body, and she wasn't having any of it. She goes to the doctor every time something goes wrong and allows her body to determine her every move. Of course, a person should go to the doctor if they're sick, but when you have one illness followed by another for decades, something else is going on. Later, after this conversation, I looked in the mirror. We're often prompted into conversations where we tell another person exactly what we need to hear ourselves. If you start having the same conversation with different people and you're saying similar things to each of them, pay close attention to how you can use your own advice in your own life. You wouldn't be prompted to say the same thing over and over again to different people if you didn't need to hear at least part of that advice yourself. I'd been writing about how the body controls the mind in this book. I'd been studying it through books and websites. I'd read stories and watched movies about how people healed themselves with their mind, but it never occurred to me that I was having the same issue. My body owned my mind, and prior to this moment of realization, I always thought that I was in control. As author Joe Dispenza says in his book, Evolve Your Brain, you can't heal the body with the same mind that caused the problem. You absolutely must become a new mind. The message had finally gotten through to me. The moral of the story is this. It can take a long time to get this message into your mind because your body truly doesn't want to hear it. It doesn't want to lose control over you, so it shuts out any information that could change things. Even after you've mastered awareness and personal change, you might still go back and forth between feeling like you have control and feeling like you don't. It takes focus to stay in a mindset where you're making choices to create something different. But it won't be long before you see how powerful you are to create what you want. And the more often things happen that you want, the more you'll realize how much power you have. You move from a place of hoping things will happen to a place of knowing things are going to happen, mainly because you're creating them. The autosuggestion, meditation, and overcoming body control techniques make you highly cognizant of everything you're thinking. You also become attuned to whether your body or your mind is controlling the situation. Keep in mind that the most effective way to access the subconscious mind is through relaxation. This puts your mind into the alpha state, which makes you more agreeable to new ideas without your own judgment. Set aside a little time and start practicing as your schedule allows. If you can't figure out when to add it in, try using this phrase frequently throughout the day. I naturally and easily find time in my daily schedule to practice mind training. You'll soon find yourself with available time that you didn't even realize you had. So that's it. Chapter 3 of my book, Life Overhaul. What are you waiting for? How to get control of your own subconscious mind. That book is going to be out June 2020. Should be on Amazon. It'll also be on our website for my other business, thechocolatetherapist.com. I'll have the links to that in the podcast. If you are trying to change your own life, I wish you all the best of luck. And remember, it takes time and perseverance. But like I have said in my other podcasts, I think it's scarier to stay in the same place than it is to change. So if you're really, truly going after a life overhaul, use this book. Talk to your friends, listen to the Life Overhaul podcast, and see what other people have done to overhaul their lives and how they've done it. And I'll catch you on the next episode.